Hello, my name is Muriel Bata, and my final project will be on India. Historical summary of religion in India. India is a country of diverse religious beliefs and practices. Hinduism is the main practiced religion by Indians. Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism and other tribal religions are also practiced religions in India. Brahmanism is a religion from the ancient roots in the first millennium BC. Two faiths were introduced around the middle of the first millennium, Jainism and Buddhism. Beginning the 4th century AD before Christ, Hinduism was introduced and spread in the region. Islam was introduced when the Arab tried to conquer Sin around 712 before Christ, but was not spread until the 12th century, around 1206. When the British started ruling, numerous Indians converted to Christianity. Many more converted in the 15th century when the English, Dutch, and French arrived. The vast majority of Indians say that religion is crucial in their lives, and many affirm to know a lot more about their own religion and its practices. This demonstrates that they are highly religious. Across the country, most people, about 84%, say that to be truly Indian, it is very important to respect all religions. Indians are also united in the view that respecting other religions is a very important part of what it means to be a member of their own religious community. That's about 80%, according to Jonathan Evans and Neha Sagal. Citizens and diplomats' perspectives. With religions comes traditions and beliefs. Citizens worship their religion differently. Indian men, women, younger adults are different genders. Groups have different experiences, different backgrounds, education, and are located in different parts of the country, have different views on what religion should be. Beliefs vary based on the different religions practiced in India. Most Indians across different religious groups, such as Hindus, Muslims, Jains, believe in karma. If you do good, you'll be compensated, and if you do bad deeds, you'll be unfavored. Do you believe in heaven? Well, most Christians, Hindus, Muslims, and Christians do. But studies have shown that Indians with more education are less likely to believe in heaven. For example, 56% compared to 47% with more education are less likely to believe in heaven. Diplomats should bring political stability in a country such as India where religion is crucial. Religious diplomats can bring peace and use their affiliations to interact with other religious leaders to bring solutions concerning certain issues. The Indian Foreign Service, the chief diplomatic service in the country, oversees India's external affairs, diplomacy, trade, and cultural relations. Venu Rajamoni is an Indian diplomat with more than 3 decades of experience in the Foreign Service. He said, Indian diplomats should never forget their roots, the background from which they came from, and that obviously includes religion. This is my self-created infographic. The title reads Religion and Culture in India. I listed 4 types of the most practiced religions in India. So Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and Buddhism. In Hindu, more than 1.1 billion live in the world and more than 94% live in India. The second largest religion in India is Muslim. About 14.2% of the population lives there. Um, Approximately 32 million Indians are Christians. You guessed it, it's the third largest religion in India. It is estimated that the population, though, will fall 0.3% by 2050. Buddhism started from royalty and is an ancient Indian religion and has four types. Roughly 7.5 million people practice it. Now that you're familiar with India's religion, are you impressed with its culture? In diplomacy, they brainstorm challenges like climate change, terrorism, wars, disharmony, poverty, hunger, etc. How may India's religious culture have an influence on diplomacy? Well, International Day of Yoga was officially introduced on December 11, 2014 by the United Nations in collaboration with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be celebrated on June 21st. More than 170 countries worldwide have shown their support for this day. Yoga signifies stress-free, mindfulness, health, mobility, and improvement. Yoga is part of an Indian culture and heritage. To share it with other countries means having an influence on diplomacy and proving it to contribute to the betterment of individuals and countries. The awareness of yoga as a common civilizational heritage brought together countries of Central Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia as co-sponsors. Not to forget the United States, China, Russia, France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan who participated as well. This idea have an influence on diplomacy. It contributed to the development of international cooperation in solving global problems. How key religious leaders have an influence on diplomacy in India, a force for participation and reconciliation. And that's what Alan Keyes, Wetter, and Bishop John Shanks said. While religious and diplomatic frameworks differ significantly, each recognizes the other's relevance to conflict resolution and human progress. Indian leaders and politicians have an influence on diplomacy. In India, by gaining popularity of the public, they emphasize they belong to the same caste and will do all work in favor of their religion and betterment of their culture. Religion species, donations to religious groups, organizations, promises in the name of religion, just to win the, the political party. Although some political parties are known to favor a particular religion, they still respect other religious leaders when engaging with them. My example, according to the web team, out of total donations worth 23,700 crore given by Indians between October 2020 and September 2021, the maximum went to religious organizations. In India, engaging with faith-based organizations and leaders is an effective means of outreach to remote and rural areas, helping to build relationships across diverse social and economic groups. This is by the UNICEF. Mahatma Gandhi was known to be one of the greatest political and spiritual leaders around the world. He gained independence in India through non-violent methods. He was born a Hindu and interpreted Hinduism in his own ways. Hinduism condemns violence and war, but promotes peace and love. This demonstrates how religion is important in political matters. Highlighting how India's religious policies, actions, and diplomacy are applied to concepts learned in this course. Concepts learned in Module 3 include motivation, religious freedom, political stability, reconciliation, stabilization, and peace. Religion is an important motivator in people's lives. The Constitution provides for freedom of conscience and the right of all individuals to freely profess, practice, and propagate religion. India has a political system that is fairly stable and socially rooted. When there is a problem, regardless of the different religions, leaders of India come together to find an understanding. Fostering peace and harmony in their communities is what they work for, even though they are from different faith communities. Religious leaders and institutions can mediate in conflict situations, serve as a communication link between opposing sides, according to David Smart. My reflection and recommendations. Religious leaders are important to society growth. That is why India has one of the largest diplomatic networks. On the top 5 of countries with the best diplomacy, India is second. Its multiculturalism has been beneficial to create better relations between citizens and the state. To know how powerful religion is when it can influence both peace and conflict worldwide. Religion can motivate people to do things politically, and that is the case of India. My recommendation is for India to continue to add religion in diplomatic affairs, sharing with the world how they are incorporating religion in their government can influence other countries to interact more with faith leaders. This can have a positive effect, especially when they work together towards specific goals, which are peace, security, and maintaining diplomacy. These are my citations. Thank you so much for listening.